Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video we're going to be talking about and we will be going through the characters that shows in the series of Invincible throughout the seasons up to season 4, which recently wrapped yesterday, depending on when this video comes out. We will be looking at a comparison between this show on Amazon Prime and another show, The Boys, which is a very popular superhero show-ish. And we will be determining which one does better in character development and just kind of more of a story building aspect. Because I believe that Invincible more or less kind of rage baits the viewer, while The Boys doesn't. And how Invincible has aspects that The Boys does not have. And The Boys has aspects and differences that Invincible has instead. But this will not be an animation of which one is betterly animated or which one's betterly shot better, as that, well, there is a lot of issues with Invincible, but that comes down to their budget and writing and animating and stuff like that. So we'll be mostly sticking to the characters and comparison and just kind of my own Gen Z view of the show Invincible. Anyways, let's get into it. So we're going to be starting off with the main characters that were in Season 1 and are still in Season 4. And we're not going to go through all the characters in the series, but just the main ones, such as Mark, Adam Eve, Nolan, and Debbie, as those characters are the only ones that kind of go through a bit of a growth throughout the series. Or some of the characters that I've mentioned kind of don't really grow, but instead decrease. As well, starting off, we have Mark Grayson, Invincible, who in Season 1 was pretty good, as he was a bit naive to the new superhero life that he acquired through his powers that he was born with. But as the seasons go on, like in Season 2, he's still pretty good, but he's a little bit on edge, which is alright and fine. But his flaws start to show in the second season, as he did create Angstrom Levy, who is an interdimensional person who needed to be created, as Mark busted into his warehouse and tore up the place, and then Victor Timely tried to save him, and then was kind of cursed, or was damaged, and I guess in a way he became a villain after that, after being mutilated, turned into a monster. But I'm not going to go into too much depth about that. But in Season 3, Mark starts becoming like the tough guy or something like that. It's so cringe and it's so rage baiting, as he attacks Cecil, but yet he has his own flaws, which Cecil tells him about, and which Mark ignores like a dumbass. And just the overall sense of Mark is that he's just not cut out for this, as he's too stupid and too ill-equipped for this life, as even when he has training by Cecil himself to get stronger, he doesn't really use it in any other way. He doesn't need to kill anyone, yet he acts all tough and like he's gonna not hold back anymore. He lies to his mother and girlfriend that he's the victim in all of this, and just overall shows that he's not really a good person, nor even a hero. He's more of becoming like a villain. Like, this isn't like a superhero arc anymore, it's a villain arc, and we just see that he's not really an angel falling from grace, but instead a rich boy who judges other people that have less than them for their actions, and even when they do have more, they should be punished for not fitting into the norm of society at all, rather than helping them and making a better world to where they can be suited and actually be efficient in it. So that's my thoughts on Mark. Whereas in Season 4, he kind of is a little bit better at first, but now again, he still makes the mistake of killing innocent people, like with the segment, or with the squid things. I can't say their names because I'll butcher it, or I just can't say it. But he could have ripped off the squid thing from the astronaut's head or he could have flown it closer to Bulletproof, who was coming closer to him. Like they could have met at halfway instead of waiting. But like I said, he craved to kill him instead. And any other opponent that he comes across, he's wanting to kill them. And it's not till the end of the season that he gets his ass whooped by the other Viltrumites that he asks Cecil for counseling and guidance, which is about time. But I mean, like, still, he went a couple seasons without that yet. Just he doesn't really care about anyone but himself, as he's kind of selfish and kind of evil in that way. But anyways, the next character I want to talk about is going to be Adam Eve, as she is, well, she was good to start out with, such as she didn't really do that much. Like she helped out and she was a superhero for a long time, as she started out at age 12. But all that being said, Adam Eve for the seasons has also kind of gone downhill, as she's become kind of more evil and more of a selfish person, due to the fact in season 1 she didn't really have that much to do. Like, she was just a really good superhero in that time and she helped out a lot. But season 2, where she started to change, as she started to not care as much for civilians, as she battled with Kill Cannon and took it to the populated area, even though she's battled him way before and kicked his ass when she was only 12 years old. But yet here he is again. He got a little too cocky, prideful in her way, and she started to taunt him and wanted him to fight more aggressively in the fight, rather than ending it right away to prevent civilian harm, but instead costed her the 2 lives of 2 civilians, which she kind of saved but kind of didn't. There's also the fact that she kind of, in her own series, accepted into a very high elite academic school because she has a in-depth knowledge of chemistry and physics, kind of molecular structures, due to her powers being given to her, as she kind of bombs out of it by sabotaging herself so that she doesn't have to go to the school anymore, which is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime gift that not everybody's given. She doesn't really, she just kind of more or less abuses and wastes away. In season 3, Adam Eve doesn't really do that much, but she does take Mark's word for when he gets his ass beaten by Cecil after he threatened Cecil killing him, and she doesn't really take the time to listen to what Cecil has to say. She just takes Mark's word for it and goes along with his mother with it, and just say that Mark was in the right, and even though Mark busted into the Pentagon and did start the fight in the first place. However, in season 4, Adam Eve does the most selfish, pathetic thing I've ever seen in any human being, as she, before Mark goes, gets pregnant, doesn't tell him, and when he gets back, she says she had an abortion when he was gone. But he was only gone for like a couple months, like 5 or 4-ish months in total. When he gets back, she's fat. But that's the thing, is that you need to get an abortion like usually right after you know you've gotten pregnant, or like a couple weeks, but not like a couple months. Otherwise you can't really do that. And besides the point, like, if she left it that long, because when Mark came back, like, she was still fat, so she would have been skinny if she got an abortion like right away. So she waited till the baby was like almost mostly developed. So that's like literally taking a life of somebody. The other fact too is that her reasoning by it wasn't even that good either. It wasn't even like, oh, I couldn't make ends meet or anything like that. It was just, I was lonely. That's like the most such a triggering and pathetic thing to say, to take a own person's life. But anyways, the next character I want to talk about is Debbie in the series, as she doesn't really change throughout the seasons, but she does kind of just stay the same. Like, she's not really a good real person per se, as she allows Mark to kind of get away with all the stuff in season 3 with him lying and stuff like that. And she does take in Nolan's son that he had an affair with a Thraxian in season 2. She doesn't really have that much power to do anything. Only difference is that she's more pissed off at Nolan, but that's kind of in a way because he kind of demeaned her or kind of called her a pet, which kind of put her down. But I think that she's more pissed off that she couldn't join him, as if Nolan kind of broke it to her in a better way and treated her more as an equal, then she probably would have been on board with the Viltrumites in the season 1 instead. The last character that I want to talk about in the Invincible series is going to be Nolan, as we've seen him grow a bit throughout the season. Season 1 he was evil, but then he turned good at the end of it. In season 2 we saw him protecting the Thraxans and truly changing. In season 3 we didn't really see that much for him, as he was in prison with Alan. In season 4 now we do see him trying to change and trying to make amends and apologize, but he is still forcing them in a manipulative way onto the people, as he expects forgiveness for taking 2,000 lives that he killed. He also tries to force other ways, like he tries to manipulate Debbie by saying he never loved the Thraxan, Oliver's mother, who was a Thraxan, and just did stuff like that. Other than that, he is slowly improving. The comparison between The Boys we show on Amazon and Invincible is that there is many differences that I'll have to go into on a later video or in a more in-depth video on which TV series is better, Invincible or The Boys. But what I can say ultimately right now is that Invincible has a main objective enemy to work against and to go against in the storyline. The Boys doesn't until around season 3 is when they start actually having an objective to kill Homelander. Then in season 4 they have the virus. Now in season 5 we are concluding with them killing Homelander, and we haven't seen that yet, so we'll be concluding in a couple of weeks from now. What I can say about The Boys is that they don't really rage bait with any of their main characters. None of their main characters are really that stupid in their show. Sometimes they can be, but that's only a small little bit of it, for one episode. It's not carried out through a couple episodes. So anyways, all things considered, let me know down in the comments, do you think that all the characters in Invincible are kind of evil and stupid in the way, or what do you think? And do you think that The Boys is a better TV show than Invincible? But let me know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.